got big and started throwing us, and one of our drawers went flying out.
Yeah, broke the corner of our drawer. The wind is going to overpower us. I need to let more chain out, so we have to move up. You're just trusting your anchor to hold your floating boat to the seabed. And if we would have had a wind shift to the south, we would have been on those rocks over there. We try to plan for everything because it is our lives and boat on the line. And in remote places especially, we are constantly monitoring things like daily weather, local patterns, and what the seabed is like for anchor holding. Do we need to move to a new place for safety and comfort? Now, sailing and anchoring in strong winds can be extra stressful, and when the sun goes down and it's still howling, it can be hard to switch off and relax. We can't always assume it will be a safe harbor the entire night. The Pacific Ocean has new things to take into account. In addition to watching how much water is under our boat and asking ourselves, would we still be floating if the wind shifts while at anchor? There are 10 to 20 foot tidal changes here in Panama that can fool unsuspecting sailors into thinking they're in enough water. Until the weather shifts at night and at low tide, and there are coral heads around. We always try to have a plan A, B, and C because there will come a time when plan A and B fail. And sometimes we only gotta be lucky. So what happens if our luck runs out? Hit that subscribe and let's find out. Well, last night was a little dynamic.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've had breakfast now, so we can think about it. And coffee. Didn't sleep too well last night. There was some west swell that was coming into the anchorage. That is still coming into the anchorage. So we, at about 5 a.m., rigged up a swell bridle with a rolling hitch and a long line.
Swell bridle.
Yeah, it's a pretty swell bridle, that's for sure.
I could let that one pass up.
So we, just finished breakfast and have decided to leave this anchorage. We're going to sail 15 miles. We are at Isla Viveros right now. And we haven't gotten off the boat. We've only been here for, 2 nights now?
It was our second night. Yesterday was a day full of just like, we were boat buddies.
Just chilling. We chilled.
Straight chilled.
We read a lot.
I did my nails,
Katie went to
spa. A la Katie. Dermaplane my face, shave my leg, the whole. You gotta sometimes stop and
pamper yourself. So, anyway, we're going to Isla San Jose. There's an anchorage on the southeast side that is going to be our staging point, which makes us a little nervous for our first overnight passage on Boundless. It'll be about 85, maybe 90 miles total. It'll be crossing the Gulf of Panama, and I'll explain more to you about that when we get to this next anchorage. The weather window that we are looking at is in a few days, so.
Well, let me do the dishes, and let's get ready to sail. Okay.
It's going to be another windy downwind sail with probably just the jib out again. All right, we're going to let this thing go. The swell bridle holds the bow at about 40 degrees off the wind, keeping the boat from being parallel to the swell wrapping around the island and making the boat roll at anchor. You can see the stern falling off as the wind pushes it back to the right. Might have to let it go. I don't know if I'm going to have enough line. I'll try to walk it up forward.
Okay.
I think I do have enough line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can let it out myself now.
In or out?
I don't know. It's your call.
The bottom tips aren't flying that well, but the top ones are.
Okay. Well, the top one's flying well. You could probably let it out a little bit to get the middle of the sail a little bit better, but not much, because I think you're almost there.
Yeah, that helped.
You think a little more? What do you think?
We'll see how that goes. I don't know if I like the shape of it.
Okay. She doesn't know she likes the shape.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Dolphins! Oh!
They're so fast they don't come up as often.
I know.
There we are. I was watching back here, I saw this thing like flying, like big dark thing, and I was like, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's our friends.
How excited did dolphins make you?
Always.
A little more from Parker. I've been editing the footage from when we first went to San Blas and our first time taking Boundless away from the dock, going into the ocean, anchoring Boundless for the first time, spending the night on Boundless at anchor. And I'm now reliving, because of editing the footage, all of the emotions that that Katie and I went through during those first moments of cruising on Boundless. Okay, go ahead and start paying it out. We both feel like we've come so far since then. And the comments that everyone is leaving on episode 99, actually, that just came out, have been wonderful. Again, thank you all for all of your kind words and how relatable this experience apparently is to a lot of people, even non-sailors. Yeah, we've just been thinking about that a lot, and Katie and I have been talking about it a lot. And I think something that is going to stick with us forever is that anticipation. I think nerves are going to be a part of this no matter how experienced we get. This morning over breakfast, Katie and I were talking about how just the fact that we are staging ourselves to cross the Gulf of Panama by sailing to this next island today, it adds a layer of anxiety and anticipation to that, nervousness. And it's healthy. I'm glad that we experienced that. I don't think I ever want to grow out of that. I think that's when you might get yourself in trouble if you don't listen to your gut and feel those nervous feelings, because we are going out there and there is a risk. It's just us two. I think before I always thought that if I experienced feelings of anxiousness or worry or doubt even, that then my dream that I was trying to chase and hold on to would be taken away from me somehow. I'm really getting around to being able to acknowledge and accept my feelings for what they are, and the moments that are hard or the moments that are really great for what they are, and really keep a more even mental state about all of it.
We have a lot of time out here, not in civilization, to just sit and think.
Isn't that the truth? Yeah, anyway, I'm very proud of myself. I'm very proud of Katie, and so let's go sailing. Wind against current is awful. It's like a washing machine. Gross. I'm glad that we're almost going to be rounding the point. Whoa. Are you okay?
Yeah, just more late. Glad I put my
Yeah. And we have 2.2 knots against us. It's at peak right now almost. Yeah, look at that. Well, that was a little chaotic, huh?
Yeah.
We didn't keep that fish. I just threw him back. But no big deal. It was a caravel jack, which is what we caught last time. And we aren't really hurting for any fish or anything. And we didn't like it too much. It was good how we cooked it, but I think we're looking for something different.
Yeah. And then the swell changed.
Right, yeah, then the swell changed.
Got big and started throwing us, and one of our drawers went flying out. And
yeah, broke the corner of our drawer. But I'll be able to glue it. I looked at it, it fits perfectly, yeah. So.
What would you glue that with, like an epoxy kind of thing?
Oh yeah, that G-Flex stuff that we have in that little tube.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it'll go back together perfectly. And I have some clamps. I brought clamps and stuff, so. Anyway, it's great sailing. Other than that, it all kicked off when that boat wake hit us.
Yeah,
that big boat, huge fishing boat. So, alrighty.
Alright.
Although we were behind a substantial island and tucked into a cove, the funneling of the winds caused a sustained 25 knots while anchoring. I was on the bow trying to pick a spot to let the anchor go, and I noticed a random mooring ball which immediately became an obstacle to avoid. Behind the ball we would have plenty of room and depth, but the chop was worse the further away from the island we were. So we tried to squeeze between the buoy and the shallower depths as we got closer to the beach. The wind chop also meant I couldn't see any obstacles below the surface. After taking in what I could from the bow, I went back to talk with Katie because there is no communicating other than hand signals with so much wind. Keep it over the wind, you know? Oh, you liked where we were?
Yeah,
oh, we're...
I was trying to think do you want to get us over there? Or?
No, you're doing good. You're fine. Yeah, there we go. If you keep it in forward at an idle, the wind is going to overpower us. Okay? Yep, you're coming back around. All right, so we're dropping. When I dropped the anchor, the bow of the boat quickly tacked through the wind, and as I let the chain out, the boat actually turned around almost 180 degrees. I've found this to be fairly normal, especially in high wind anchoring, and I don't mind what the boat does during this because the chain I am laying out is roughly in this direction, which is into the wind and what we want. Once I have enough length out to set the anchor, I stop the chain from paying out, and we patiently wait with the boat in neutral for the wind to push us back around until the bow is facing into the wind and we are in line with our anchor chain. What's that saying? Objects in mirror are closer than they appear? With the wheel centered, Katie puts the engine in reverse to dig the anchor in. Unfortunately, we fell back too far and too close to that mooring buoy. Of course there would be some random mooring ball. Okay, so I need to let more chain out, so we have to move up, okay? Are you okay?
Yep.
Are you sure? Okay. So we're just gonna come forward with the engine, and I'll bring it in, okay? And then we will we're gonna come up to the left of these boats, like more over, okay? All right. Yep. Anchoring in high winds is always an adventure. Oh man. Oy.
The
Well,
wind started to settle a little bit.
yeah, it did, huh? Now it's true wind speed of 9. Still gusty.
Yeah.
I think this is a good spot. I like this. So we dropped it in what?
Like 24.
24. So I have 100 feet in the water.
Okay.
So with 24 and then 30, that's like a 4-to-1, right? 5. No, that's like a 3.5 to 1. So I'm gonna let out some more, but now look how much further we have.
We have distance.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put like maybe 150 in or something like that. So, and we set well.
Yeah.
So were we at 0?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Even when we back down.
All right. Hey everybody, I hope you're enjoying the episode. I just wanted to pop in here and say if you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel and leave a comment, and don't forget to like the video. All of that interaction really helps our channel get spread across the YouTube universe, and it's totally free. If you're already subscribed and wondering how else you can support us, you can head over to patreon.com/sailingseawind to buy us a coffee or choose the tier of your liking. Our patrons get some pretty cool perks, including a live Predict Wind tracking link and ad-free early viewing of each week's episode. All right, that is all. Back to the video. All right, we're blowing this popsicle stand, huh?
Yeah, we need some time off the boat, I think.
Yeah, we didn't get off yesterday or the day before.
Anchor sat well, I mean.
Anchor set well. Did you see our track on the thing?
Yeah.
All right, Boundless, you stay. Okay, so there's an O-ring inside that seals, and it looks like it got a chunk taken out of it, and so it won't seal, and we're leaking fuel. Oh, all right, we got it. I had an O-ring and it worked. Despite our fairly stressful day, anticipation of the first overnight passage, and the dinghy really making us work for this, we were so happy to get off the rocking and rolling boat for a few hours, and were surprised to find such a beautiful resort to blend in as guests at for a spontaneous dinner date. Panama City's up here, and we are right here. Can't get any further south in the Las Perlas. So now we're gonna go all the way over, right over here. Wait for the water. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Go, go.
Let me switch.
Right. You can do it. All right, back to our rule. Oh, hey, touchdown.
We got it.
Here we go.
Pulling it up.
Never really complicated, so. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm not sure what time it is. It might be more so noon now. Had a really nice night of sleep, considering the day that we had yesterday, which wasn't a very bad day. It was just very dynamic. Today is kind of like a chore day, like I said. I think I said that. We are making water. I had to fix a couple leaks in the water maker before we started making water, and I have completed that, and now the thing is just chugging away. There was these two feed pump hoses right here, the feed hoses to the Clark pump. These fittings here were leaking, and so I took this all apart and retaped them, and now they're not leaking at all. This is an accumulator tank for pressure when you can hear when the Clark pump cycles. So this accumulator tank is like a shock absorber for the pressure spike. And so it's what protects the feed pumps here and back here. There's two of them. I've completed this chore, and now we're making some water. 16 gallons an hour, 18 amps at 12 volts DC, ran completely off of the solar. Quite amazing. And Katie is doing some stuff outside. Let's go see what she's doing. Hi, sweetie.
Hi.
I just came outside to see what you were doing. What are you up to?
I'm doing laundry.
Laundry?
Underwear in particular.
Oh, look at all of our gutchies.
These are mine right now.
Oh, those are your gutchies.
Yours I have to rinse. And at first when I was rinsing with the fresh water, I was like just dumping it, and then I was like, what the oops, you'll have to, I was like, what the heck? I was like, what the heck? You'll have to, we want to wash the boat today anyway, so why don't I just take the fresh water and start rinsing the salt off? I realized, recycle
Nice.
the water.
Yeah.
So,
All of our undergarments laid out to bear for the new super yacht that's our neighbor. What else do we have going on today? What are we doing?
work on the computer.
Yeah, got to do some work on the computer. Tomorrow, we are going to leave for our first overnight passage on Boundless. It'll be a quick one. 90 miles is way too long to try to do in daylight, so we have to do an overnight for that. So. Okay, I have figured out what I'm going to do next, and that is fix the drawer that broke yesterday while we were sailing here. I don't know if you heard it. I think we had the Insta360 going, so you might have heard the big crash. We didn't know what it was, and then Katie came down, and it ended up being our drawer that flew out and the corner broke. All right, so here's our setup. I got a little mixing station. We're gonna be using this Petit Flex epoxy. I use this on the mast, so you guys will be familiar with this by now. I was gonna use some clamps to clamp the piece on, but they don't fit, they're not big enough. And so I'm going to use some tape So here is the piece. It broke off pretty cleanly, and so it'll fit right on here, just like that. And it should be hardly noticeable. So I'm gonna just clean this off with some acetone and that as well, and I'm not gonna do anything else to it because the grain fits really nicely together right now. Are you filming?
Yeah.
All right, and away we go. Just gonna push it into the grains. It's a very tight fit, so we're only going to need what they call a film thickness. So there's going to be a lot that squishes out even with me spreading it out so thin. Sneaky stuff. It's supposed to be low vis. So we're going to be able to clean this off with like acetone, you know, the stuff that ends up squishing out. I'm hoping, I don't want to have to like sand. I want to be able to like clean and leave this finish that's on here. Thanks for filming this.
It also broke the way the grain is going.
Right. Yeah, it broke with everything, which is really nice. All right, so here we have the repair. I was able to use some very small clamps that I have to pull it in that way, and then the tape is holding it down, so should be pretty good. I know I'm going to have to deal with the epoxy that's squished out underneath the tape, but I'm just very happy that it glued down and it looks like it's a real tight joint, and I don't think you'll be able to notice it very easily. I'll show you why the drawer actually flew out in the first place once this all dries. It is definitely my mistake, because there are some things built into these drawers to make sure that they don't actually come out. All right, what did we do just now?
What did we do all day? We watched the boat with all the water we made with the water maker, and I did 3 loads of clothes today via bucket. It was a good day.
All right, so here is the finished product. We were able to take the tape off just as the epoxy was setting, and the piece stayed in place, so I was able to use acetone very lightly, and I got all of the goop off, and then there was some tape residue that after this cured completely, I got off with some Goo Gone. But it is a pretty good fix. And I told you all that I would show you why the drawer fell out. Well, on boats, this is a possibility. You know, the boat gets tossed around and it can absolutely throw things across the room. So you can see right here, this is a little piece of wood that you can actually turn, and it's kind of stiff. That lets the drawer then come out the whole way. Well, I got into here to clean and I forgot to twist this thing back up into place. So it should have been like that and not have let the drawer come out.
Because of like this here being such a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and not like feeling like we're cruising, it's sometimes hard to get back in the swing of just like
Working and cruising. And
it's simple.
oh, simple,
It's
yeah,
like-
right.
Actually, your weekends are going to be like boat chores and relaxing and sailing
And reading.
and reading. That's it. That is like
And
the
eating.
5 things that are going to happen during your weeks.
Yeah, when you're...
It's just like that's it, and it's hard to
Yeah.
wrap your mind around that. It almost feels like something's missing, but then you're like,
Because you're not...
This is it.
Because your life isn't going at a million miles an hour.
exactly. You're just doing what you need to do, and that's it.
You know, I've just been thinking so much about how, like yesterday we came in here and it was blowing 25
Yeah.
and we anchored, and when we finally got settled down, we like, oh, just taking a shower,
Yeah.
just, you know, cleaning up, gonna read a book for the rest of the day, what are we gonna make for dinner? And we're like doing all of this and it's pitch black outside, right? It gets dark. And you're just trusting your anchor to hold your floating boat to the seabed. It just is like Like, it's hard to comprehend sometimes. It's the coolest thing in the world. All right, so here's something kind of interesting. Okay, so here in Panama, you have to make sure that you account for the tidal changes, and they're very big tidal changes. And when we arrived here, it was high tide. And if you can see over here, this darker color, that is like a reef. And if we would have had a wind shift to the south during low tide, we would have been on those rocks over there. And thankfully, you know, it's been prevailing north winds and we're up on our anchor. We dropped our anchor right here, and we would have been very far, or we would have been, I don't know, I don't even want to think about it, but that's the reality of these huge tidal shifts. Okay, reverse. We're 50 feet from there, and we had 140 feet out. So that's just kind of like, you know, what we have to learn. Okay, you're good. And this super yacht anchored over here. And he, I don't know, if we would have had a wind shift too, he would have been on those rocks too. Anyway, I don't like when we're lucky. Luck is not a thing that you want to rely on out here. But anyway, that's just, you know, we got lucky this time. Granted, the wind is very rarely from the south here, but there are wind shifts, there are wind reversals. Anyway, so, all right, I'm gonna put this anchor to bed for the next 24-ish hours. Oh, it might not seem like a big deal because nothing bad happened, but being lucky like this really shakes us up. We are thankful that the wind did what it was predicted to do, and from now on we will use this experience to guide us in our anchoring decision-making. Up next, we set off on our first overnight passage, explaining why we chose such a calm weather window for crossing the Gulf of Panama and rounding Punta Mala, catching our first ever mahi. And it just keeps getting better because our next anchorage is like something out of a fairy tale.